remember the doctor at that time told me that if you don't come in, you have like a month to live.
Wow.
The uncertainty if I will make it. It was very tough. I was looking like a 95-year-old man with a swollen right side of my face. I used to bleed a lot.
On your tooth?
Yes. I used to bleed. For example, you have this 10 mil syringe. I used to move around with it because when I noticed that once in a while to put pressure around my eyes, I will run into toilet, I will just draw out the fluid just to remove it.
The doctors are telling you to come in for surgery.
Yes.
And then there are revelations.
Yes.
And revelations saying that you shouldn't go ahead with the
Yes.
surgery. And here God is like giving you similar instructions to what he gave the Israelites.
Yes.
Like go around the wall of Jericho and sing.
Yes.
Similar to that.
Yes.
It doesn't make sense. You're welcome to Let's Talk with Chisom, and you're watching the Unbroken series. Recently, we started the Unbroken series where we'll be bringing you interviews with outstanding men and women that have gone through tough times, but they've found a way to come out of those challenges even stronger. So you want to look out for this series on Let's Talk with Chisom. Give us a thumbs up if you like this video, and remember to click the subscribe button so you know when we upload new and edifying content. So today we have with us Uncle Umoh. Uncle, we are so happy to have you. It's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you so
Please
much.
tell us, who is Uncle Umoh?
My name is Uncle Umoh. Some people call me Brother Umoh. Some people call me by my professional name. I'm an engineer by profession, and also a father, married to a beautiful woman, my wife Mary Umoh, who has a PhD on special education. I have 3 beautiful girls and a son. I'm so glad to be here, and I'm also a businessman. It's an MD of Mercantile Systems Limited. So good to be here. Thank you.
I want to apologize for using the term Uncle Umoh because he's an uncle to me, right?
Yeah.
So in the number I should be addressing him as Mr. Umoh. But I'm using the term Uncle Umoh, and it's because he's an uncle to me. So, Uncle, you've been an inspiration to a lot of us. Personally, as in you've been an inspiration to me.
Thank you.
Apart from the fact that you're a worship minister and you're a youth minister, you mentor a lot of people in worship and all that, there is something else that is very unique about you, that stands out concerning you, is the fact that you've gone through some serious health challenges, yes, and you've been able to pull through.
Yeah.
Can you give us a hint of what the challenge is about?
Yes. Years ago, precisely 12 years ago, I was diagnosed to have a condition called Ameloblastoma. Forget about the big English, you can check it out.
Okay.
And I remembered when I was diagnosed of that ailment, I went to hospital, maxillofacial hospital here in Port Harcourt. And after they had taken the sample, a week later, I went back for the report, and they told me that I had that condition. And I was in a daze that day. As I left the hospital to cross over to the other side of the road, I did not know when I crossed over to the other side of the road.
Wow.
And they told me it was a condition that was very invasive.
Okay.
Even though I checked it up, initially I just felt it was not cancerous, but they said it was an invasive ailment that it will spread if it is not arrested. So that was about 12 years ago.
12 years ago, wow.
Yes. And based on that, they said I needed to do a very incisive surgery, because the thing started from the upper part of my tooth, the right side, and they said it's from the look of things, after they told me, and they said I needed to do a surgery that would take out half of my face.
Wow,
You
half
know,
of your face.
yes.
Wow.
And that I'll be given a prosthetic part of the half of the face, and that I will lose my voice.
Wow.
You know, being a worshiper, it was very devastating for me. And you know, in that light, I had to, you know, seek more opinions in terms of go to other hospitals and continue running its other tests, you know, and doing CT scan, and it showed that the thing was spreading.
Wow.
It was a shock to me. And from Port Harcourt, and I moved to Abuja. From getting to Abuja, I went to a very popular hospital in Abuja, and after they had checked my results, and then the doctor on duty said, look, because I met him on a Friday, he told me to come in on a Monday for the surgery. And I was a bit reluctant. I said, look, I need to think about it. You know, so that was what happened 12 years ago.
Okay.
And it was not an easy experience for me.
Apart from the fact that they said they would have to take away part of your face,
Yeah.
has it been done somewhere before?
No.
So it's like it tests kind of thing.
No, apart from, like I said earlier,
Yeah.
I did series of tests, and they were looking at the different CT scan, and they were telling me I had to go through that surgery. As I began to delay, you know, I remember the doctor at that time told me that if you don't come in, you have like a month to leave.
Wow.
So it was a decision I needed to take.
Quickly.
You know, I had some suggested for me to go abroad, some suggested India, some suggested America, some suggested London. So I was like, you know, at a crossroad on what to do. So that's what really happened. Being a Christian, with all the evidences, medical evidences before me, it was like I needed to go to God to ask Him what to do. Now, in going to God to ask Him, not because I didn't trust the medical community, but I needed to take the right decision, being led by the Spirit. Because all the time of my life, even before I married my wife, when I met her, you know, I've learned to be led by the Spirit. I'm still a learning process. I've not known all of God. If anybody tells me has not known all of God, it's not true. So it's a daily journey that is continuous. So when I went to God to ask Him, what do I do? Should I go through the surgical procedures? What do I do? And He spoke to me clearly. You know, spontaneous thoughts, witness to witness, and said I should hold on the surgery.
Wow.
Now, the interesting thing is that in between those periods, some people that didn't know, I remember a particular brother, didn't know what I was going through. He now had a dream and told someone that he had a dream about me. So when I heard, I contacted the person, a very good friend of mine, he's based in Lagos. I asked him, I said, you had a dream about you. What did you dream about? Because I believe in dreams and vision. It's part of life. And in the course of asking, he said, Ima, I saw you in a dream. You were sick. And you went for a surgical procedure. When you went, you came back, and there was a lot of joy and gladness. He said, interestingly, in that dream, he noticed that in less than 3 months, that same thing came back, the Ameloblastoma, and I did not survive it.
Wow. After the surgery?
Yes. It was a shock to me. I said, you mean it? He said, yes. Meanwhile, he did not know what I was diagnosed with. That's number one. The second dream I could remember is that my daughter had a dream. In that dream, you know, that time, how was she? She was about 8, because she's about 21 now. Yeah, she was about 9 or so years. And she said, Daddy, I had a dream about you. And in that dream, I saw you in the hospital. And we know what shocked me, because for such surgical procedure, they will need hammer, they will need chisel to be able to penetrate through the teeth, and be able to separate those areas. It's a bone thing. And she said, Daddy, I saw hammer, I saw chisel, she mentioned, meanwhile, she never knew that those instruments could be used.
Oh, okay.
And so when she said that, he said, as they were about, I saw you on the operating table, as they were about starting the surgical procedure, a man walked in and raised his hand and told me to stand up, that I should not do it.
Wow.
It was an interesting scenario to be able to digest. So when she said that, and other things, even though some people were having dreams and visions that I didn't make it, I looked at it, I kept praying, and I asked God, what do I do? He now told me, first, change your diet. And that I should go on fruits and vegetables.
Fruits and vegetables.
Yes. And that's one. Two, he told me, because I play the keyboard, the little way I could, could play. He says, spend time on the piano, then worship me like tomorrow will never come.
Wow. Wow.
So it was not an easy experience.
I have so many questions I want to ask you right now.
Yeah.
But I'm just thinking, okay, here you are struggling with a health issue that is deteriorating, and the doctors are telling you to come in for surgery, and then there are revelations and revelations saying that you shouldn't go ahead with the surgery, and here God is like giving you similar instructions to what he gave the Israelites, like go around the wall of Jericho and sing, similar to that. It doesn't make sense. Did you doubt it at some point that this thing is not going to work? Did you have that feeling?
Well, as a Christian, even when God speaks to you, the tendency is to have doubts.
Yeah.
Because it's like, are you going to make it? And explaining this to people in the medical profession, they will not understand.
That's true.
Especially even people that are amongst you. Even people who have read wide and telling you, he said, don't you understand what you are faced with? But like I said, it was not an easy decision to take. Interestingly, I had to call my wife to tell her. I said, look, I know you are under pressure. God bless her so much. You are wondering why I should not go the medical way. I know it's not easy, but this is what I'm receiving. You know what? If in the course of taking this pathway, I don't make it, please, I don't want you to cry. What you need to do is, God will help you. You will marry another man. You will never blame yourself, but I need your support. No, at that time, we're 23 years in marriage now. You will take that out, it's about, when you look at 23, minus 12,
should be like about 11.
Yes. So you can imagine what would have happened to her at that time, what was going through her mind.
Yes.
What I needed a support. Yes, there were doubts, but I had to take that step of faith, asking God to help me. But at the back of my mind, I say results will show as we move on.
Yeah.
So I began that process. What I did was that I started exercising. I remember the first day I prepared the vegetable. The vegetable consisted of mainly broccoli, carrots, cauliflower, green pepper, onions, tomatoes, celery, parsley, and other ones that I felt that were very, garlic. So I had to come back from Abuja after staying some time, and I came, when I came back, my wife began to prepare it. And when she started, I remember the first time I ate it, it was like forcing yourself to eat something you were not used to. You understand what I'm saying? I didn't use any salad cream. I was just chewing it.
Just raw.
Yes, raw.
Wow.
Yes. Even though I used the apple cider, I tried putting a little bit of avocado pear and also virgin olive oil, which is cold pressed. But it was not an easy work.
Mm.
Yes. So that's how the journey started.
What was Auntie's reaction in all this?
You mean my wife?
Yes, because it's a crazy step you're taking.
Wow.
It's a crazy, and she's the one. She's the closest person to you in through this whole process.
Yeah.
What was her reaction like?
Like I said, it was not easy for her.
Mm.
She was watching me deteriorating in health, bleeding.
Mm.
She was watching me. I'll be tossing on my bed. So that's why it's good to trust God to give you the right mate.
Mm.
I can tell you that my wife has been a major pillar in my life. Because at that time, nothing would have stopped her to say, this is not what I bargained for when I married this man. Am I coming to stay with him so that I will suffer? I looked at my children, looked at her. I remember when I had the first diagnosis, I came back, I was so devastated. And I began to react. I began to look at her. Unconsciously in my mind, it was like I was blaming her. It's funny. I looked at her, beautiful woman, looked at my children. Any small thing, I'll be snapping, I'll be shouting. And I remember one incident. My daughter did something very simple that did not require me to really beat her. But because I was frustrated at the beginning, I had to transfer my anger. I beat my daughter, my second daughter, who's a fourth year now, within electrical electronics. And she could not cry.
Wow.
I was screaming in the house. So after beating her, I now left the parlor and stepped to the corridor. Who did I meet? My first daughter, who just finished architecture, getting ready for her master's by the grace of God. Saw me coming, and she ran back and started screaming.
How old were they at this time?
At that time, my first daughter is 21, so 12 minus 21. She was 11.
Yeah.
No, not 11. That's 10. She was 10 years. My first daughter was 10 years. You understand? Second one 9. They were a year apart. You know. So at that time, you know, when she screamed and I saw the way she screamed, I heard in my spirit, your children are not the cause of your issue. Neither is he your wife. Take a hold on yourself, sit down, and listen to me to tell you what to do.
Wow. How did you take it? Did you accept it?
No, I had to accept at that time. Okay. So my attitude began to change. Okay. And that's when I called my wife later on to begin to intimate her that I needed her support. And she said she's going to give me 110. And she began to look, you know, read up a lot of things, ask questions, ask doctors questions. If he does the operation, must it be such a deep invasive one, the simple one? If he does the simple one, would the thing not come back? Because that, you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so on and so forth. She watched me change my diet. She supported me, you know, watching me initially. She was a bit concerned. Say, well, how will you do with your protein and so on? So I had to learn a lot. Here we are today.
Yeah, and she's been there. Yes, I know. She has, because I'm just thinking, you know, preparing the vegetables is a lot of work.
Yes, a lot
so
of
I'm
work.
just imagining her going the extra mile.
Yes,
so
scraping carrots, a bag of carrots within 1 week. You have to juice, you have to do smoothie. You know, she will see me at times. I'll be on the keyboard. She will stay with me. Sometimes she gets tired. I come out. I'll be playing keyboard. Sometimes I'll play from evening till morning, just worshiping the Lord, just to make my mind focus. Because then it was so overwhelming. In between, when this thing was happening, I used to bleed a lot.
On your tooth?
Yes. I used to bleed. For example, you have this 10 mil syringe. You know, I used to move around with it because when I noticed that once in a while to put pressure around my eyes, I will run into toilet, I will just draw out the fluid just to remove it. At times in a day, I will remove about 10 mil syringe, almost about 2 of it, 20 ml.
Wow.
And interestingly, when I used to visit people, I'll be hiding to do in the bathroom. So one day, one of the person I visited, I think went into the bathroom and saw syringes And he was wondering in his mind. He looked at me. I said, "No, I'm not on drugs."
I can't imagine.
By the time I explained,
Wow.
he said, "You mean this is what you are going through?" I said, "Yes."
Hmm.
But thank God, that's how the journey has been. And I can tell you, these 12 years, when it started, it was like, we're not sure it's going to turn out. I remember one particular doctor telling me, he said, when we do that invasive surgery, and you be given that prosthetic part of your face, he said, well, it's meant to prolong your life. I remember quite all right. I don't know why he said that to me. He said, well, we can hope and pray you live for about 7 years, 8 years.
Hope and pray.
Yes.
So it's not even like it's
that might have been his personal opinion. Even though I didn't ask other people.
Okay.
Even that guy that told me one month and so on. But what I want to say that God has been of great help to me. To that my life.
12 years.
To see my children grow. At that time, my son was very small, less than a year. So I saw him being born. And my first daughter, she's grown, she's a graduate to that. If I want to go on and on, not only that, the help of friends, the prayers of my brethren, the church, then the financial, imagine doing such a thing.
Yes.
It was very capital intensive.
Yeah. And
I tell you, God helped me. Just interestingly, my business began to be affected. But the good thing is that I'm alive today to give you an update of what had happened to me on this program. Thank you so much.
Okay, so Uncle, this is 2 months of not taking orthodox drug, just the
not the
vegetables, and staying in the presence of God, worshiping, playing the piano, without any prescription. No dietitian helping you.
No.
And you're back.
Learn,
You're back to see the doctors and they run a test saying that it's no longer spreading.
Yes. And that I was improving health-wise.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to take you back a little.
Go ahead.
When we're discussing, you mentioned something about when it was about to start, you had a dream.
Yes. Like, even though I know people should be interested in subscribing to this program, I know amongst people there'll be skeptics, but I tell you that I'm telling you the truth. I had a dream before I had this challenge. I had a dream whereby in that dream I saw myself in front of a judge. I was shocked, in front of a judge who passed a death sentence on me. I can't remember, it was like a being, but it was like form of human being, I can't remember. And who passed a death sentence on me, and I was condemned to death. And they took me and put me under a dungeon. A dungeon is a prison that is like beneath the earth, or we want to call it the lower part of the earth. And I was just in that cell alone, staring, when I saw a man in white walked in and asked me, I said, "You mean you agree to that judgment that you would have protested?" He said, "Do you know that you like a gunner?" So I was like, "Oh, is that so?" He said, "Don't worry, I'm going to help you." I said, "Please, how are you going to help me?" He said, "Where you are, beneath where you are, there's a body of water." He said, "I will take you down through that water and you will escape." So while that person was taking me down that water and I was escaping, someone knocked on the door and I woke up. As the years went by, I began to understand what it means about demonic courts and the court of heaven. Thank you.
The demonic court and the court of heaven. So I want you to talk a little about it, because when we spoke, you mentioned about going to the court, because obviously medicine they didn't really prefer something tangible, and here you are hearing the voice of the Lord, and he's telling you what to do, and it's working. So it means that you're getting something right. So in as much as I believe that the vegetables played a lot of vital role,
Supplements.
I feel it's more of a spiritual journey.
Yes, I agree with you. You know, God had mercy on me because interestingly, you know, because of my experiences, when I try introducing some of this into people who had challenges, some other gave up, some tried it few times, some, couldn't continue. Some, it was like, is this, I remember someone asking, is this how I'm going to live all my life? No. Because that's for another time, another day. Change of diet with the spiritual breath of God on it, there is no way this thing will not turn out well because of who God is.
So, Uncle, from what you've said,
Yes.
I've been able to pick something.
Yes.
There's a work of faith.
Yes.
It's obvious, it's evident everywhere.
Clear.
But there's something else I was able to pick. You know,
Yes.
sometimes you don't go through certain challenges.
Yes.
It's like God is trying to work something out in
Yes.
us. And it's not just about you. Now, God has been able to work something out in your life. He has been
And
able
it's still
to work.
working.
Yes.
Yes.
And you know, the lessons you have learned,
Yes.
you're now sharing it with so many people
Yeah.
to encourage them.
Yes.
I think that's one thing that cuts across every situation we find ourselves.
Yes.
We need to come to that point where we look beyond, okay, I'm going through this. There's a lesson
to learn.
in every challenge.
Every challenge has a lesson.
Yes.
Yes, it's clear. You see, Jesus learned to overcome through obedience.
Yeah.
Whether you agree or not, you must go through challenges in life. If you like, I remember some people who sing for better for best. Some who sing songs like that, and when they are trying to exchange marriage vow, you must go through the lessons of life so that you become fashioned to what God wants you to be.
Yeah, I think that's just it. We just have to go through those lessons, and I think having that positive mindset as you had, you were just positive throughout the process. You kept trusting God even when every other person did not really see what you were doing at the time. It has really been a long one. But I want to ask you one more question.
Go ahead.
This whole journey, what was the toughest part for you? The health challenge and everything.
Oh.
What was the toughest part for you?
The toughest time was the uncertainty if I will make it. It was very tough. I remember an incident. I removed my shirt, stood in front of the mirror, and I lost so much weight. Someone that was doing 89, 90, I dropped weight to about 60.
Wow.
Even though it was mainly because of the fruit and no, that's a wrong statement, because the fruit and vegetable helped.
Yeah.
But I think it was as a result, at a point, yes, I remember, I began to stool. 1, 2, I found out that I was just losing weight. Apart from the stooling, which was at a particular time they were able to stem it, but I was just losing weight. And if you see the picture, I have a picture of how I was looking like a 95-year-old man with the swollen right side of my face. And I was not sure, even though I believe God, it was like I was not sure. So what happened that day, I wanted to cry. That's why I got my strength. As I looked at myself in the mirror, I wanted to start crying. I had a sharp rebuke in my spirit. Don't cry.
Wow.
If you cry and you go into a self-pity, I can't help you.
Wow. Wow.
He said, quit yourself as a man. I said, God, is this how it will be continuous? I said, no. Take one day at a time. He said, you wake up today, you thank me, don't think about tomorrow. I said, but what of my business? He said, take one day at a time. How will I eat? How survive? Take one day at a time. If you don't stay alive, how are you going to do business? Now, how were we surviving? That's another story for another day. But I tell you, God released so much abundance. So much abundance. I remember a particular instance, someone that was expecting salary, like we are in August, about entering September.
Yeah.
The person came and said, boy man, this is in lieu of my salary for September. I'm giving you to be buying your fruits and vegetables to help you.
Wow. Wow.
That day
Wow.
I cried. Some people, they didn't have money. Some will call me and we tell I heard what happened. Please, can I send you this?
Wow.
You understand what I'm saying? Well, once in a while, some people that were owing me, some of my clients, okay, they heard, they will release money and so on and so forth. So when I heard in my spirit, don't cry, you have to quit yourself and you have to be strong. Then also, like I said, people were having dream vision, sending reports. You didn't make it. I heard you didn't make it. Then the reports that were coming that look, there've been it's like no improvement and so on and so forth. But that day was a turning point for me.
Wow.
I began to take a hold of myself. I remember one incident, one woman, my friend saw me. That time I used to be ashamed to even walk on the road. At times I used to say, let me go for my, do what I needed to do. So I saw her. She was buying clothes. So as I passed her, I now called her. She looked up. I looked at me. She just said, Zima, and threw up her hands and started wailing.
Wow.
That was an incident. There's a second incident that happened near my office. One guy was on the phone. He was on the phone. He looked up and said, do you want to talk to me? I said, yes. He now shifted. Meanwhile, it's my very good friend.
Wow.
He shifted. I said, no, don't shift. It's Zima. Zima? So they were not